Hey guys, we will be solving a very interesting questions from GreatFrontEnd today called Cancellable Interval. I have faced this question in a couple of JavaScript interviews, but above all, I think this is a very good question to build your basics in understanding how to, you can say, intelligently use some of the web APIs provided by JavaScript. But above all, this is a question which will help us to understand how to solve a JS interview question. And particularly, I will focus on making you understand how to think in a JS interview and how to come up with a solution in an interview on your own. Personally, I feel like in JS interviews, the solution is there in the question itself. And the example provided to us by the interviewer, or even if you have constructed an example on your own, I think the example itself gives out a lot of information on how to solve the question. And this is exactly what we'll try to conquer in this video and in my subsequent videos as well. So yeah, let's get started. And if you have any question at any point, feel free to add it in the comments. I am 100% going to address your doubts. So yeah, let's get started. Question is called cancelable interval. What you have to do here, you can go through the problem statement, pretty short one. You have to create a function. You have to, in fact, implement a function called set cancelable interval that acts like an interval. This means that the signature of set cancelable interval is exactly going to be like the set interval web API. And from the arguments also you can predict that. So this argument structure is or this parameter structure is exactly equal to what we have in the set interval MDN docs. For reference, let me open the set interval docs as well. This is MDN docs. You can refer to these docs for any of the web APIs if you want to see how to use them, what all params are there, what all return types are there, and how to use them. So yeah, you can see that the structure given in the question is exactly uh, what we have for set interval web API. Okay. Now, as you can see that we want to implement a set cancelable interval method in which the signature is going to be exactly like the set interval function that is provided to us by JavaScript. And apart from that, the important part of the question is a set cancelable interval function should return something which can cancel the interval that is created within that function. So if you take a look over this example, you can visualize this in this way. So first, when you call this particular, when you write this particular line of code at t is equals to 0, then this is where you have initialized your set interval method. So in each t is equals to 10 millisecond, we are going to do I plus plus. Basically, this block of function is going to get executed. So at t is equals to 0, this is when you have initialized this. At t is equals to 10, I count will be 1, as this will be initialized from 0. Now at t equal to 20, the I count is 2, and at t is equals to 25, or you can say at any random time, you have cancelled this function. So once you have cancelled this function, what is expected out of you is I will still hold the value of 2 because um, before this part, I was 2 before this, and you have cancelled it. Okay, at some any random t is equals to 20 plus x time. So now the value of I should be 2 and it should persist. If you print I is equals to 2, if you want to print I here, then it will give out 2. So how to implement this? First of all, let's take a step back and don't think about what you have to do here, but think about what we are doing it in the example. You can see that at t is equals to 0, as soon as we have written this function, we are assuming that an interval is getting started. So now it is almost sure that once this function gets called, we are initializing an interval. So let's start an interval, and as we have given in the question itself, the signature method of set cancelable interval and set interval methods are going to be exactly same. Then you can just copy paste this entire list of parameters, function parameters, into the set interval functions. And we have verified this particular thing from the docs itself, from the MDM doc itself. So now And a general good practice is whenever you are initializing an interval, then we should be providing an timer ID, which is returned to us by the setInterval web API method, which is written to us by setInterval method. Somewhere down the function line, it can be used. Okay. And yeah, it will be used because we are about to cancel it. We are supposed to cancel it. Now, you can see that we have returned something from this function and we have copied it into the variable called cancel, and then we are calling the cancel method. So what does this mean? This function should return a method so that we can call this method in this way. Now, by this hint, we are almost sure that we are going to return a method. So we should write a return statement like this. Now, what is happening inside this interval? Sorry. So now what is happening inside this method? We are going to cancel the interval, right? Very simple. Now, how can we cancel the interval? You might know from the MDN doc itself, or if you are or if you are already been working in JavaScript for some time, you will be aware of an clearInterval method. You will be already aware of a method called as clearInterval, which is going to clear your intervals, which is already created using the interval ID. Okay, so let's give this a better name. Instead of timer ID, let's give it interval ID. Now, using the same variable, we can clear this interval. So what will happen when we call this particular, when we write this particular function, when we will write this particular function, we are going to initialize an interval and we will be returning a clearInterval method, and we will be returning a nameless function, which is we will be returning an arrow method, uh, which we can call later to clear the interval. Now at some point of time when we call this cancel method, then this particular block of code will be executed. And in fact, this is the correct representation. This particular block of code will be executed and the created interval ID will be clear. So yeah, let's run this piece of code to see if it is passing. The test cases are passing. Let's now submit the code to see the full list of test cases if they are passing. And yes, we have solved the question successfully. Let me know if you have anything to ask, if you have any doubts, or if you have any further questions. Feel free to add it in the comments. Very happy to answer and clear the doubts for you. And for any interview related tips or any interview related question, feel free to ping me in LinkedIn or put your questions in the comment, and I will be very happy to reply you. Thank you all. Bye bye.